Hey everybody, it's your boy Sean McLaughlin, Option Sean on Twitter. Today's Thursday, July 10, 2025. This is the All-Star Options Jam session. I hope you're doing well. Big week for me is my birthday week. Big round number. I had a $50 roll, the 50 roll here this week. So big week, a lot going on. Thanks to those of you who reached out and wished me happy birthday and all the other good stuff. Appreciate it. I feel it. I feel the love. All right. So this is the All-Star Options Jam session. So what we do here, and we do this every Thursday, whenever, except when there's a holiday like last week. But we do this, we basically review all the action in the portfolio, any positions that we may have exited or adjusted since we last spoke. We update stops on positions, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, it is a bull market, and we've got a lot of stops to update this week, which is a good thing. That means a lot of positions are going our way, and we're raising our stops, trying to either lock in profits or, just keep the position under wraps because we don't want it to get away from us. So we have a lot of those to go over. We'll review a couple new trades we've put on as well. Before we get into any of the charts, let's just drop the old disclaimer here that everything I discuss is for educational purposes only. I'm showing you what I'm doing with my money, and I hope that you are learning something from seeing me follow my process. Okay, so let's start like we always do with the S&P 500, the broadest index that I track. And today, intraday, at least intraday, we printed a new all-time high. It's a bull market. For those of you fighting this tape, I feel bad for you. I used to be that person. Don't do that. It's a recipe for heartache, and it's bad for your portfolio. All right, but this is a bull market, and we are acting accordingly. And man, it just seems like a nonstop trade frame. And what did I say? Trade frame? Freight train is what I meant to say. Nonstop. But boy, I was talking with the guys today. We had an analyst meeting, and I've been talking about this privately with some of my colleagues here at All Star Charts. And while I'm still very bullish on this market, I have to be honest with you guys. I am personally feeling a little overexposed here. I have a lot of long exposure, not just in the All Star Option Service, but I do a number of trades outside of that in my own account. That I'm just like have a lot of long exposure, and it shouldn't be surprising because this is a bull market, and that's where the best setups are on the long side. But I have to be honest that I'm feeling a little, ooh, maybe I need to like dial it back here and take some risk off, or maybe put on some counterbalance trades, some hedges, some short trades. I actually did one earlier this week. I might do another one because that one is working, which is nice. But man, it's a bull market. All systems go, and as big of a run as we've had in the S&P, and I mean, the story can be the same story in the Qs, right? The NASDAQ, as big of a run as we've had off of the April 7th lows, this market is still hated. There are still lots of people just waiting for the rug to be pulled. A lot of people with cash on the sidelines, a lot of people looking to get short. And until those people join the party, then it seems to me we got a long way to go still in this bull market. Are we going to keep going up every day and straight up and to the right? No, of course not. We'll have some pullbacks along the way, but man, can we go another 25% higher from here into the end of the year? That might be a big ask, but it wouldn't surprise me the way things have been moving. And the types of stocks we're seeing rip. I mean, we're seeing everything under the sun seemingly rip. So that's where I'm at, guys. I'm bullish. I'm uncomfortably bullish. I have a lot of exposure, but the exposure keeps working. So, I mean, I'm pruning my portfolio from time to time, cutting out losers that need to be cut out, but most of them are winning. So that's why I'm holding all this exposure. So it is what it is. That's where we're at. All right. So let's review two positions that have exited since we last spoke 2 weeks ago. Last Thursday was July 4th, or the half day leading up to the July 4th weekend. So we didn't have a show, but we have two trades that exited, and one of them I'm feeling a little salty about, and this is Coinbase. This was a great win. Okay. Great trade. We got into July 300 calls back at the end of May. We bought them on a dip. Maybe we were a little early. We were a little early in hindsight, of course, but we paid $9.75 for them. But we got the rip we were looking for. We sold half on June 20th, and we sold the second half on July 1st during this little pullback here. And I mean, I basically sold the low of this pullback. And look at the stock today, back to new all-time highs. So while this was a great trade for me, made great money. My average price, if you average these two prices together, is about 33 bucks, 34 bucks. So I paid 9.75 and got out for 33. So I basically tripled my money, more than tripled my money in this trade. Fantastic outcome no matter how you slice it. But man, I'm feeling a little salty that I basically sold the low and things been ripping higher ever since. But you win some, you lose some. It's not a total loss. I have a lot of long exposure on, as you know, if you're in some of these positions we do at All Star Options, you know we got a lot of long exposure on, so we're making up for it in other ways. But man, hate to see that. Uh, the other exit we have was a losing trade, and I'm feeling pretty good that we got out of this. This was a short position we had on in KB Homes. We were long the September 50 puts that we got in back on May 7th. And, you know, this trade, when I put this trade on, look, I actually hoped I would lose because I was putting it on as kind of a portfolio hedge to hedge out a lot of my long exposure because I felt like, man, if the home builders have not rallied while everything else has rallied, that's a very bearish signal for these things. And if the market does roll over, well, these things were already weak and they're probably going to fall even further. So that's why I put these long puts on, which is a bearish bet. And you know, it still hasn't really broken higher. It's still churning in the level it's been for the last 2 months. But my updated stop was the 55.50 level, and we closed above it just barely on July 1st. And so I exited the trade the very next day on July 2nd. I paid $325 for these puts. I got out for $150. But look, I mean, look at what way it's trading today. Is it finally going to start popping up? It might. I'm feeling good about my exit. So we've only had 2 exits, but mostly because most of the trades we have are going our way, which means we need to update some stops. And boy, do we have a lot of stops to update this week. This might be a record for number of stops we've updated in any one All-Star Options Jam session. I'd have to check the tape, but I'm pretty sure this is the most stops we've updated. So in no particular order here, let's just go down the list. We'll start at the top here. Vive Systems, ticker VEEV. We're long a September bull call spread. We had a beautiful gap in our favor, putting us into the profit zone, but we've just been consolidating since, which I don't see this as bearish at all. It's just taking its time, and we have until September, so I'm feeling really good about this trade. You can see this level up here, 300. If we get to 300 before my limit order to sell this spread gets hit, I'll just take my profits there. This is the most this spread could be worth is 50 bucks. I'm long the 250 calls and short the 300s. So that means the most the spread could be worth is 50, but I'm working a good till cancel order to sell it at 40. So either I get hit at 40 or we get to 300, whichever comes first. That's when I'm taking the profits, and it'll be a nice profit no matter what, or no matter when it happens, if it gets to 300. But that's neither here nor there. What's really important for discussion right now is I'm raising my stop to 265. I don't want to see Vive come back below 265. That would be bad timing for my position as we start to inch towards September. I don't want to think about September right now because we're right in the heart of summertime, and September means fall. And as much as I love fall, I love summer even more. So let's not think about that. But 265 is the new stop in Vive. Okay, next up, again, no particular order. Uber. We're long October 105 calls. This has been a wild ride, but we're back up again, making new highs here in Uber. So we're raising our stop to 87.50, which is just below this recent gap. I would hate to see Uber get back below this line and into that gap. That would not be very good for my position. So 87.50 is my line in the sand for Uber. All right. Rocket Lab. We're long in October 35.45 bull call spread. We paid 275 for it. So far, it's working. I love it. I'm raising my stop now to 30. 30 kind of corresponds with where this stock met a bunch of resistance, both in kind of the beginning of the year, and then when we were rallying up off the lows, it kind of, traded around a bit. This is a volatile stock, but 30 seems to be kind of the level that's pretty important here. I'd hate to see it get back below 30. So that's where my new stop is in Rocket Lab. Now on QS, here's a different situation. I'm not putting a stop here. In fact, I don't even have a stop in this trade. And let me explain myself. For those of you who remember, we got into this trade back on January 15th or 16th. We bought August $7 calls and we paid $1 for them. Okay. Well, as you can see, the stock did nothing but go down for us while the first 2-3 months. And when we were here in early April, these calls had zero bid. They were dead. They were left to rot. Like, people were selling them for 5 cents. All right. So for me, in my mind, I basically just wrote this trade off. I mean, I put the trade on day one, and I do this all the time. You guys hear me harp on this all the time, but when I put the trade on, I was willing to risk this entire $1 debit that I paid for these calls. It was, that was I sized my position in a way that if I lost 100%, it's okay. It would just be like any other loss. And in fact, when it was basically a zero back in early April, it was a loss, and I basically just wrote it off and forgot about it. Well, as we talked a couple of weeks ago, woo boy, this thing came back from the dead. It's now ripping. Our calls are now in the money. They're in the money by more than $2 right now. This is turning into a really great trade. Now, I'm saying all that because I don't have a stop on this thing. Why don't I have a stop? It would be prudent to put a stop. And look, if you guys are in this trade with me and feel like you want to put a stop in, that's great. I have no problem with that. You might want to put your stop around 625, maybe 650. If that makes you feel better, I have no problem with that. I'm not doing that. And the reason why, guys, is because I felt like I already wrote this thing off. To me, this is a lotto ticket. I don't get a whole lot of lotto tickets very often. To me, this feels like free money. I had already written this trade off back in early April. I mean, I basically, in my mind, I threw it on the trash heap as just another loss, no big deal. So for me, it feels like free money. And boy, is this thing acting really well. This thing can go to $20 in the next few weeks. Who knows? So I'm just going to let this thing ride. If that doesn't work for you, if that doesn't make you feel comfortable, please, you do you. Take, have a stop loss, or maybe take some off the table to reduce some risk. You do you. I have no problem with any of that. But for me, I'm just going to let this baby ride. Feeling good about it. I feel good. And maybe I'll regret that. But again, this is free money as far as I'm concerned. I had written this thing off. This was a zero on my books for a long time. Now it's free money. So that's what's up with QS. Okay, moving on. Net Nav, ticker NN. I got into this a few weeks ago. It's trended really well since we got in. Nothing flashy, no big moves, no big volume days, just, a solid churning higher, which is what we like to see. We're long a bull call spread, long the 15 calls and short the 20 calls in September. I'm moving my stop here to 1350. I'd hate to see this thing change character and roll over and come right back to 1350. To me, that would be a very bearish development. So that's my line in the sand now. 1350. In fact, let me delete this 1250. That was the old stop. 1350 is a new stop. Okay, Lemonade. This one is giving me fits. It's been all over the place, right? I mean, it sold off pretty hard like the day after we got in. Then it rapidly it slingshotted higher. I was feeling great about it, but then, man, it's just giving us fits. It's right back to where we started and below. I did not have a stop when I first put this trade on when I first issued it, but now I got a little note here. I am adding a new stop here, 35. We are now initiating a stop on this trade. Didn't have one before. I was willing to risk it all, but now I just don't like the way it's trading. It's making me a little uncomfortable, and no reason to let this thing go to zero if I don't have to. So for now, stop is at 35. We'll probably raise that. I hope to raise it in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully the stock kind of digs in here, and hopefully this little low, these two candles here around 38, 37 and change. Hopefully that is a durable low, and this thing finds its footing. But for now, 35 is a new stop in Lemonade. Okay, next up, ICE. Got into this one just over 2 weeks ago. It's kind of just going sideways for us. It's not going our way. It's not going against us. It's just kind of churning, and that's okay. But I am going to raise my stop from where we started. I'm just moving it up slightly, 172.50, which basically corresponds with, see this yellow line here? This is the anchored VWAP off of the April 7 lows. So I feel like that level seems pretty significant to me. I would hate to see ICE get back below 172.50. If it does, that's my signal to get out. Whew, all right, we're halfway through the stops. Boy, we got a lot of stops to update this week. Okay, Hood. I'm raising my stop on Robinhood to 70, but as you can see, guys, it is knocking on the door of 100, which is where I'm scheduled to take profits in this trade. You can see we kissed 100 back on July 2nd. But it was one of those weird trading days, low volume. I mean, it poked its head above $100. It was there for about 5 seconds. And by the time I got the alert and pulled up the stock and was at my computer, it was back below quickly. So I just like, I'm going to hold on to this thing and see what happens. So I'm still in it. I'd like to see this thing trade up and through 100. And when it does, that's when I'll be taking my profits in this trade. We have until January. So there's a lot of time here. If you want to give it a little bit more time to see if you get to mature into some higher profits, I got no problem with that either. But for me, just following my best practices, because I got a whole bunch of other risk on, I'm not going to be greedy. If this thing gets back above 100 pretty soon, I will be taking profits on this trade, and it should be a nice profit. Might be at least double our money, maybe triple. We'll see. We'll see. But it's been a good trade, but seems even silly to mention it now, but we are raising the stop to 70 in case this thing does not punch through 100 and finds itself rolling over soon. 70 is my new stop in Robinhood. All right, next up, Groupon, another one of our best trades of the year. It continues churning. I was a little worried on June 20th. I felt like this might be a blow off top, and it came down for a number of days, but we're coming back up the other side there. And in fact, I believe on July 8th, which was my birthday, I believe that was a new closing high. So even though we're below these intraday prices on June 20th, this was a new closing high for Groupon. So that's very bullish. I'm feeling pretty good about this trade, but I am raising my stop now to 30. That corresponds with kind of this little pullback area here, as well as a rising 50-period moving average. We've already locked in, we've already sold half of the position, and we've already recovered all of our invested dollars and a little bit more. So we can't lose in this trade, but boy, this is turning into one of those good ones. We paid $2.20 for these October 25 calls. They're already they're already $11 in the money, so they're going to be worth at least $11 to us here if we hold these levels. So great trade in Groupon. Next up, Cortiva, excuse me, Cortiva. We're long the December 80 calls. I'm moving my stop to 70.50. Corresponds to that rising 50-period moving average, and it's basically right about the level that we got into this trade. If this thing comes back below 750, I won't like it. Okay, three more. Let's get through these. Credo. I have a new Credo Technology Group. We're long a bull call spread in November, long the 90 calls, short the 100 calls. We paid $335 for it. It's been a little bit of a wild ride, but we're at or near highs right now, which is great. I'm raising my stop to 80, which is just slightly below where we got into this name. I'd like to see it stay above 80. That 80, if you kind of look back here in late December, early January, 80 was a level that played a little bit of resistance. So I'm hoping that's going to hold now as support if it comes back in that level, but don't want to see it close below 80. That would be bearish for me, at least bearish on my time frame for this position. Okay, next up, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, CM. This has just been a pretty nice, with the exception of one weird day here, it's been a nice slow trender higher. I love it. I'm long calls. We're long the January 75 calls. Just feeling pretty good, but I'd hate to see it get back below 68. So 68 is my new stop loss. Phil, I saw your question come in there on QS. Is there any level where you'd simply look to cover your cost basis? Well, I mean, you could do that right now, Phil. We paid $1 for it. And right now these calls are worth at least $2. I don't have the prices up. I don't have them on my screen right now, but they're worth at least $2. You can probably sell them for $2.50. So if you wanted, Phil, you could sell half your position right now and lock in some gains and still have unlimited upside. And if you want to do that, I have no problem with that. Again, I'm just holding on because to me, it feels like a lottery ticket that won, and it feels like free money. But Phil, you sound like a more responsible guy than me right now. And I think this would be a great place to sell half, lock in some gains, or maybe, I don't know how it depends on how many contracts you have, but maybe you sell some out of the money calls, sell the 10 strike or the 11 or 12 strike, to bring in some premium, and maybe that way you get paid back, and you still have some more upside to go from here. There's a lot of different ways you could do it, Phil. Hit me in the chat room if you want some specific ideas. We could hash it out, but nothing wrong with the taking out your cost basis if you want to. All right, we got sidetracked. We were just talking about CM. 68 is the new stop there. Okay, so the last one, ASTS, the Space Mobile. I don't like the way it's acted the last 2 weeks. I'm hoping that it's going to dig in around here. I'm optimistic that at the very least, it's going to come down to maybe 40, and that's where the buyers are going to step in and start buying the dip. I hope so. We've already locked in a gain on this trade, a nice gain, in fact. We paid $1.45 for these August 40 calls. We sold half of them for $6.30. So we've already locked in meaningful gains here. So we can't lose. We're guaranteed to win. That's great. Whatever we sell the second half of this position for will be just additional profits, just added gravy. But man, I would really like to see this thing rip higher, and I think it can. But I'm raising my stop now to 35. I don't want to see this stock come all the way down to 35. That would be a bad omen for this position. Whew, wow, that was a lot of stops we had to update. It's a bull market, ladies and gentlemen. When it's a bull market, your positions are working, and when they're working, you protect those gains or minimize those losses by raising stops in the direction of your trend. That's what I do. That's my best practice. Like I always say, you do you, but that's what I do. And if you learn anything from me, it's stick to your process. All right, last up, let's talk about new trades we've put on since we last spoke. Now, some of these were put on a couple of weeks ago. Again, we didn't do a show last week, so apologize for some of these, but are being as late as they are. But here's ICE. We're long the January 200 calls we got in about 2 weeks ago. HBM, same story, got in 2 weeks ago. We're long the January 12 and a half calls for 75 cents. Bullish positions. All of these are bullish positions, guys. NBIS, Nebius Group. We're long a bull call spread. This one has not worked for us. I mean, right out of the gate, I thought I was being cute buying this dip. I thought I got a deal. Well, maybe the sellers had no more than me, because the stock continues to sell off and it's flirting with our stop loss level. 45 is that stop loss. But you know what? If we lose on that trade, I'd rather lose quickly than lose and get stopped out 3-4 months from now, and I probably won't have any premium left in those options. But if we get stopped out in the next few days here, the loss will be minimal. All right, so new trades you put on this week. I don't have the trade details on the site here, because if you want to get those details, just come to allstarcharts.com, head to the member section, head to the options section, find all the detailed trade plans for every one of the trades we put on, whether it's a new trade or a trade we put on a week ago or a month ago. All the details are there, and they're great to go back and reference them if you're in these trades, because when I put a detailed trade plan together, not only do I talk about the setup and why I like it and how I'm trading it and what I'm paying or what I'm paying to get into the trade, but I also map out my plan for managing risk, where I might stop out, where I may or may not take profits. All of those details are there. So when you get into these trades with us, and if you get lost in what you're supposed to do, or if a price level got hit and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do when it hits that level? You could always go back to the blog post and find all the details for these trades right there. So all the details can be found there. So I don't have them on my charts for you right now, but this week we got into Carrier Group Corporation. So far, it's looking good. I'm liking this trade action in the last few days. So we're off to a great start. And then today we got into Black Sky Technology, also off to a good start. Guys, my analysts, when I first read the research report on this from my analysts about this stock, I'm not kidding. I wrote it in the post, but I'm not kidding. I was drinking coffee, and I spit my coffee up. They have a price target of $80 on this stock. The stock's trading with a 24 handle right now. They've got an $80 price target. Why? The stock is heavily shorted. This stock has the potential to become a monster short squeeze. And if we zoom out here, this thing has a price history going back. I mean, this thing at one time was a $80 stock. So this is a monthly chart we're looking at here. Not saying we're going to get back to 80 anytime soon. Maybe let's look at a weekly chart. But yeah, back in let's say end of 2021, this stock was at least trading at the 80s. So can this get back to those previous levels? I don't know. I don't know if it'll get there in my time frame. I bought the options that were furthest out in expiration for them to give me some time. But boy, the price we paid for these, we don't need to get all the way back to 80, my analyst price target, to make a killing. Even if we get halfway there, this is going to be a great trade. So again, all the details on that and how we're managing it can be found at allstarcharts.com. All right, guys, we had a lot of stops here. I put up this screen for you guys to take screenshots of it if you want. We had 12 stocks that we updated stops in. So here they are. Take that screenshot, pause the video if you need to, take that screenshot. And lastly, here, a bunch of links for you guys. If you're not a subscriber to All Star Options and you want to get involved, well, first of all, what have you been waiting for? Well, here we are. Here's the link. It's all, the link is right here, stockmarkettv.com/get All Star Options. You can get it there. I have a free options newsletter. You should check that out. I write not every day, but most days, at least 4 or 5 days a week, talk about all kinds of things. We talk about trading strategies. We talk about stories from the front lines of trading, options trading philosophy. Basically, just stuff that's on my mind as a 26-year options trader that I think you might find interesting. I find it interesting. Maybe you'll find it interesting too. And finally, if you like my charts, trendspider.com is offering 50% discounts to people who watch this video. If you go to trendspider.com and use my promo code Sean50, they'll give you 50% off a subscription plan. Lastly, if you have any questions about anything at all that we discussed here, please shoot me an email, info@allstarcharts.com. It'll get routed to me and I'll be happy to answer you as best I can. All right, everybody, thanks for sticking with me. We covered a lot today. We'll do this again next week. On Tuesday next week, my new show will be on once again. It's called What Are My Options? That's a more interactive show, guys. I don't really go into the show with an agenda. I just really kind of open myself up, make myself available to you. If you have questions about options, if there's a stock you're interested in trading and you want to know how to trade it with options, or you want to explore some option strategies, I'm happy to walk through it with you, tell you how I think about it, show you some trades that I might consider doing. It's really up to you guys. You drive the direction of the show with your questions. So it's open. We'll do the show from anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much there is to discuss and how much people are engaging. But that's a new show on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's the time, right? 3 p.m. Eastern. So please tell your friends and tune on in. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. I know it's early, so I know it's Thursday. We still have to get through Friday, but I know some of you start your weekends on Thursday nights. So have a great weekend, guys, and enjoy your summer, and we'll be back at it next week. Until then, take care. Trade them well.